Hey people. Okay, so this is just a review over sections 11.8 and 11.9. Why don't you get out some scrap pieces of paper because I'm going to have you work through some problems and then I'm going to go over them as after you're done. Couple things while you're doing that. Again, I probably said this in the intro video, but this is the last quiz. The quiz that we'll take on Friday is the last quiz that we will do on for Algebra 1. There will not be a quiz next week. It's just 2 more assignments. It's just a little bit of connection to geometry, just some midpoint and distance formulas, just how to connect algebra with geometry, just to kind of bridge the gap a little bit. So this is the last assessment. Treat next week as like a makeup week. Like if I will accept anything that's late, so way back when. Also for this quiz, please don't use photomath. It's very evident when you use photomath. And when I say photomath, that means like also Googling your answers. I will not give you credit. I did it on the last quiz. I gave a bunch of people zeros and made sure it made them go back and do them over again. Some people chose not to go back or do them over again, and they actually got zeros on their quizzes, which is no good. Probably going to make them fail. So make sure you do that, or make sure, like, if I tell you to redo a quiz, you're going to have to redo a quiz, and just don't try to Google your answers. That's silly. You know, it's extremely evident. Like the work that you show when you're Googling your answers is like way weird. It's like you don't even know what you're doing. Like I wouldn't even do that way. I wouldn't even think to do them that way, but whatever. Okay. But anyway, don't cheat. Moral of the story. Don't cheat. All right. Okay, so hopefully we got some scrap pieces of paper out. Okay, I want you to pause right here and do these problems. Okay, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 11 problems. Not too bad. Okay, so I want you to pause, do these problems, and then we'll go over them. Okay? All right. All right, so let's go over these couple. First one's multiply here. Write each product in simplest form. No decimals. I will not be accepting decimals, obviously. All right, so the first thing I want to do is multiply these together. That would give me the square root of 14. I would try to reduce down 14, but 14 is just 7 and 2, so those are the prime factors, so that's done. Okay, take a look here for this one. This would be 3 radical 28x, right? And then we break down 28. Now 28 is 2 and 14. I probably should have done 68 before. No, whatever. 2 and 14 and 2 and 7. So I buddy up my 2's. So this would be 3 times 2 on the outside, or 6 radical 7x. See, it's really evident when somebody Googles their answer, like they write this in a completely different way. Like it's just really odd. Like you don't even show factor trees. I mean, come on now. Let me jump back to 30 or 68 here. This would be the square root of 18. 3 times 6 is 18. Break that down. 2 and 9, 3 and 3. So a 3 coming out with a 2 staying in. And then this last one here, 71. Distribution here, right? So this would be 4 times the radical 2 minus radical 16. Now the nice part is radical 16 is a perfect square. So 4, and remember, don't make this the square root of 8, right? This is outside, that's inside the house. So 4, then radical 2, don't really even combine them at all. And there's my answer, 4 radical 2 minus 4. Yeah, another key thing, like people that use photomath or people that Google their answers, it's really like this, it will always write it like this. It will always write the number first, which is really weird. Like, why would you ever do that? Yeah, it's just odd. That's technically right, but it's just in a weird way. So it's really telling those people who cheat. All right, so now we multiply by radical 5 on top and bottom here to rationalize the denominator. So I get 4 times the radical 5 over radical 5 times 5, or just 5. My answer there. Here, I'm going to multiply by radical 2 over radical 2, which gets me a times radical 18 over just 2. Now, when I break down, I have to try to break down radical 18, and it does. Radical 18 is 2 and 9 and 3 and 3, so a set of 3's coming out. So 3 radical 2, so that gives me my answer as 3a radical 2 over 2. Okay. And then number 76 here, I'm going to multiply by radical 2n over radical 2n. So this is radical 10n over 2n, and that's my answer. 10 doesn't break down. Okay, so that's multiplication and division piece. That's section 11.8. Now let's go over section 11.9. All right, so let's start here with this one. Radical is isolated, so I square the opposite side. This gets me 2x is equal to 16. I divide by 2. So x is 8. Taking a look at this one, radical is isolated. I square both sides. I get x plus 6 is equal to 9. I don't want to subtract the 6 first. I want to square first because it's 6 plus 6 is underneath. I subtract the 6. X is 3. Number 85 here. Notice that the radicals are balanced. When that happens, you can square both sides. And just remove the radical symbols. Get rid of the little guy, this x here. So this is 1 is equal to 2x minus 5. Add the 5. I get a 6 is equal to 2x. So I divide by 2. 3 is x. And then the radical is isolated here. Can I get further down? No. So I say 2x minus 3 is squaring the 4 to get 16. I add the 3. 2x is 19. I divide by 2. X is equal to, oops, sorry, that would be 9.5, not 8.5. 9.5. Right. Okay. All right. So hopefully that cleared things up. Honestly, if you kind of thought that was easy, if you thought that was good, then you'll be fine for the quiz. The homework for tonight is a review. And again, you know how we make the reviews. They look just like the quiz. So hopefully you guys will be good to go. All right. See you guys.